What if success caught up with you, naturally and effortlessly? Picture opportunities finding you, doors opening easily, and goals aligning intuitively. Everything shifts when you stop pursuing and start magnetizing. Attracting success isn't magic, it's mindset. When you concentrate on purpose and presence, success starts to find you. In a few moments, I will teach you how to attract success instead of endlessly chasing it. No more burnout, forcing outcomes, or running in circles. 1. Clarity of purpose. Some people move through life like they were born for it. Focused, steady, intentional. Others wander, distracted, second-guessing every step. At first glance, it looks like luck, maybe even privilege. But look closer, and you'll find something far more powerful at play. Clarity. Clarity is not a gift, it's a choice. A mind shrouded in fog will cause even the strongest legs to falter. But with your vision clear and your mission set, your steps become purposeful, your direction unmistakable. Success doesn't visit those who wish. It comes to those who know what they desire with a determination that warps reality into their path. Clarity isn't an epiphany of inspiration. It's a line in the sand. It's you declaring, "Here is who I am. Here is what I will treat, those I encounter along the journey." That decision, to know yourself and take what you desire, is where real movement starts. It's where drifting stops and intention sets in. Each of us who's left an impact on this earth didn't begin with means or ideal timing. They began with vision, a plan in the mind years before a single brick was laid. Their greatness was not conceived in noise or applause, it was conceived in the quiet of decision. When no one had faith, no one was watching, and they just decided to do it anyway. That is clarity, not only vision for the destination, but traveling towards it when the path is unseen by everyone else. Picture a farmer in his field at dawn. He doesn't cross his fingers and wait for a miracle. He treads the earth, he knows the seasons, he beds the ground, and he plants with intention. That's not hopefulness, that's intention in action. He knows harvest is not the result of luck, but the result of showing up and putting in the work day after day. And then look at your life. Do you work it like that farmer's field? Something to be tended, shaped, and cared for? Or do you let the wind determine your course? Clarity requires you to ask yourself some hard questions. If nobody was expecting anything from you, what would you actually want? If you couldn't fail, what dream would you pursue without restraint? What project, idea, or are you putting off just because you haven't had the time to choose? Most individuals wait for the ideal time, for clarity to come as a revelation. But the reality is, clarity does not show up. You build it. You establish it. You take a seat with your life and draw the lines. You place your flag. It is not about waiting for the fog to break away. It is about pressing ahead anyway and allowing every movement forward fog the mist. When you know, everything starts to move, the distractions lose their hold, the doubts become tiny, doors open, not by magic, but because certainty is magnetic. The universe does not bend for uncertain people. It doesn't align with indecision. But when you are clear about who you are, what you want, and where you're going, everything starts to change. People notice, opportunities start to show up, and the world, feeling your certainty, begins to get out of your way. Clarity is not something that happens to you. It's something you do. It's your statement to yourself and the world that you are no longer floating. You're constructing, becoming, and embracing a future that only you can envision, but one that you are willing to bring into existence one step at a time. 2. Resilience in the face of difficulty. It's simple to wear a smile when life runs easy, when the sun is on your back and the road ahead is straight. On those days, anybody can appear strong. That's just not where strength is forged. Real character comes in the storms. When the light fades, the foundation trembles, and the plans you believed in start to come apart. That's where something in you stirs deeper. That's when success starts to take you seriously, because you've demonstrated that you can hold your ground when everything in the world is trying to bring you down. You don't become stronger by avoiding the hard stuff. You become stronger by moving directly into it. Struggle doesn't come to kill you. It comes to remove what is weak, what is uncertain, what was never meant to survive. Fear, procrastination, excuses. Those things disintegrate under pressure. What's left is something stronger, something authentic. You. That part of you doesn't just make it through the storm, it's uncovered by it. Imagine a tall oak standing by itself in an open plain. Its trunk is roughened by struggles with wind and rain. Lightning has hit its branches. Seasons have attempted to weaken it, but it still stands, stronger than ever. Its roots so deep that no storm can bring it down. That tree isn't strong despite the storm. It's strong because of it. The storm is its master, its shaper. Take a look at yourself now. When life blows wind and rain your way, are you as upright as that tree? Or are you toppling at the slightest gale? All too many times, we treat obstacles as stop signs. They're not. They're signals. Signals you're being shaped, conditioned, forged. When plans collapse, when progress stops, when the world says no to everything you attempt, that's the champion's forge. It's life saying, how badly do you want it? Every obstacle is an instrument, chiseling patience into your nerves, discipline into your routines, and strength into your soul. You claim to desire success, yet are you willing to pull it through the trenches? It's simple to arrive when enthusiasm is riding high and the sun's shining bright, but what of those days when you're empty, when your energy's depleted, when discouragement murmurs in your ear that perhaps it won't be worth it? That's the test. That's the moment that means most. Success doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to show up, especially when it's difficult. Resilience isn't a forced smile. It's an intentional choice to get back up when it's simpler to give up, to maintain focus on the goal when the world gives you all the reasons to glance away. It's not about pretending the hurt doesn't ache. It's about deciding to move forward anyway. You absorb the blow, but you keep going. You fall, but you rise with wiser eyes. You don't swear at the agony, you honor it. It's because you know something that most people don't. Pain is one of life's most direct teachers. Most of us live our entire lives attempting to circumvent pain, attempting to discover the shortcut through the fire. But you don't. You stare it down. You shake hands with it. You say, teach me what I must learn. And in so doing, you become unshakable, not because the world gave you a free pass from the storm, but because you learned how to survive in it. That is resilience. That is strength. That is the platform true success is established upon. 3, self-belief. You will never go beyond the opinion you have of yourself. That's the whispered truth everybody neglects in pursuit of validation, status, or triumph. You can possess unpolished talent, assiduous work ethic, and every advantage laid out before you. And yet, if internally you doubt your value, if you actually do think you're not good enough, you will somehow or another destroy your ascension. You won't reach beyond your own limits, not because the world prevents you, but because your own self-conception holds you back. Success is not following the uncertain. It's not attracted to those who waver, who mumble their dreams under their breath, hoping no one catches them failing. It looks for people who come forward with quiet confidence, not the boisterous, look-at-me type of confidence, but the subdued, unmovable type that resides in the marrow of your bones. That solid confidence that asserts, I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. When you hold that, you don't require applause. You don't even require permission. You act because your belief in you has already decided. Here's the truth that no one will dare say. Your brain can't differentiate between what is and what you keep telling it. Belief is strong. It constructs perception. Perception constructs behavior, and behavior constructs outcomes. If you give your brain doubt about yourself, it will take it as true and construct your world around it. But feed it confidence, conviction, and a sense of direction, and it will turn it on you. It will begin to shape your actions into courage. It will take you into spaces you once believed you weren't welcome and have you walk like you do. You've witnessed it yourself. A man or woman enters a room and doesn't have to say a word to be noticed. There is no conceit in their presence, only a firm weight of self-respect. That is inner authority. And it doesn't result from outer success or degrees. It begins with belief, with a choice made well before anyone else was able to confirm it. The question is, do you possess that with you? Or are you still waiting for the right moment, the right signal, or for somebody else to tell you that it's okay? What if you just chose tomorrow? Chose that the future you're creating has nothing to do with the past that held you back. Chose that you don't need permission to go more, to reach higher, to be louder. Imagine you put your tiny foot in the sand and said, from here on out, I live by my own vision, not by anyone else's doubt. How much would change if you thought you were enough now? Not in the future, not when you've cured all your faults, but now, just as you are. Which doors would you be bold enough to knock on? What kind of conversations would you initiate? What dangers would no longer seem dangerous? The thing is, you already possess all that you require. You've had it for a while. But the secret to opening your future isn't in more approval or more accomplishment. It's in understanding that your mind is your greatest weapon, and what you put into it will create everything. When you begin putting power into it, not fear, bravery, not comparison, those closed doors ahead of you no longer appear as walls. They begin to look like invitations, like challenges waiting on your knock. And when you think profoundly in yourself, even the universe bends and whispers, at last, you're ready. 4, purpose over passion. Everybody enjoys hearing about pursuing passion, as though passion by itself will sweep you over each and every hurdle and land you in the life you desire. The reality they don't reveal to you is this. Passion is volatile. It's boisterous at first, alluring even, with flames filling your chest and ambition in your head. But let time go on, and it will disappear. Passion can evaporate in the heat of exhaustion, dismissal, monotony. One morning you wake up and the flame is no longer there. And if passion is all you have, you'll quit. You'll seek the next thrill. And you'll do it all over again, hoping this time you'll get it to stick. But purpose, that's different. Purpose doesn't ask you how you feel. Purpose doesn't disappear when you're exhausted or demotivated. Purpose is the steady power that remains, the one that drives you on the days your world is crumbling. It keeps your hands moving, feet on the ground, mind focused on the marathon. Where passion blazes brightly and briefly, purpose smolders steadily and endures. Success lies not in the excitement of the pursuit. It doesn't belong to those who act only when motivated. It is for those who serve a purpose, a greater good than ego or convenience. You don't create a life of substance by pursuing what's good. You create it by going back to the work when it's inconvenient, when no one is looking. When you'd rather be somewhere else, that's when it matters most. Consider attempting to construct a shelter in the midst of a storm. The clouds are black, the rain is pouring down, the thunder is booming above. All your instincts cry for you to cease. But if the shelter is important, if the life you're constructing is worth it, you don't stop. You build the bricks with shaking hands, not because you like the storm, but because you have faith in the home. Purpose operates in that manner. It provides you with the motivation to move forward when passion is depleted. So it's worth asking, are you pursuing what gets you stoked, or are you creating what keeps you going? Excitement's temporary. It provides you with a rush of momentum, but it doesn't stay when things get messy. But what if, instead of posing yourself the question, what do I feel like doing, you ask, what needs to be done in order to create a life that matters? That question shifts everything. Suddenly, you no longer wait for inspiration to visit. You begin arriving, ready to do the work no matter mood or situation. Imagine committing yourself to an art, a purpose, a calling, not because it makes you feel special, but because it reflects what you value, because it touches your soul even when your emotions don't. That's when you begin to get powerful. That's when your work becomes sacred, not driven by ego, but by something more. You're no longer seeking applause. You're going for impact. And impact is silent. It's not always flashy, but it leaves a legacy. Let someone else pursue the excitement. Let them shoot up quickly and flame out equally rapidly. You, be the one who lasts. Be the one who keeps adding brick to brick long after the masses have stopped paying attention. Because when passion will eventually fade, and it will, purpose will. And it's not the thrill that creates something substantial. It's the perseverance. It's the persistence. It's the inability to give up. What you build with purpose will stand long after the noise is gone. 5, discipline over motivation. Let's get one thing out of the way. Motivation is inconsistent. It appears and disappears like the weather, sometimes bright, sometimes rough, but always subject to change. It's the guest who arrives when everything seems exciting, when novelty or energy is palpable. It nods hello, offers you a spark, and then takes an exit out the back door when it gets tough. If you're counting on motivation to create something that will last, you're already in a bad place. Because what do you do on the days it doesn't appear? What do you do when you don't want to? That's where discipline is. Discipline is not flashy. It doesn't make a grand entrance nor wait for applause. There's no care how you feel. It simply appears day after day, hour after hour, before the sun rises, after the energy has dissipated, through the doubt, the boredom, the resistance. Discipline is that quiet presence that continues to arrive each day when all of you wants to give up. It won't lie to you. It won't coddle you. It will just ask, are you ready to put in the work? If your actions are dependent on your moods, you'll spend your life in cycles, beginning strongly, running out of steam, beginning anew. The people who actually get things done, the people who jump out of the crowd, are not waiting to get ready. They discipline themselves to do it no matter what. They know that repeated action builds momentum, and that the momentum eventually turns to identity. You do the thing enough times and you no longer have to think about it. It just becomes you. Imagine a man splitting wood each morning before dawn. He doesn't do it because it excites him. He doesn't do it for admiration. He does it because winter is constantly approaching. He gets it. He gets the price of waiting until it's too late. He isn't seeking inspiration. He's fulfilling duty. And by doing that, he creates something greater than a firewood stack. He creates toughness. He creates toughness. That's what discipline is all about. And now ask yourself, could you move like that? Could you perform without an audience, without the thrill of being observed? Could you stick with the process on the days it's dry, dull, or unthankful? Would you still arrive at your dream if no one ever applauded? That's the test. For when no one is observing, when there's no payoff in the offing, that's when your discipline is exposed. That's when the truth is told. Each time you opt for the foundation over the shortcut, the follow-through over the excuse, you create something within yourself that cannot be taken away. It's not grit just for endurance's sake. It's about being someone you can trust, because when you trust yourself, everything shifts. You stop haggling with your goals. You stop wondering if you'll follow through. You just do. The world is full of individuals waiting to be inspired, waiting to be moved before taking action. But those who create legacies, those who lead, they turn the tables. They move first. They act before they want to. And in so doing, they become the type of individual the world can't ignore. They don't obey the speed of feeling. They set the speed through dedication. So don't just sit around hoping for the lightning bolt of motivation. Light the spark yourself. Stand up, take the step, do the thing, even when it's difficult, even when it's silent. Let discipline be the guide. Let action inform identity. And when you do, the world won't need to tell you anything. It'll simply try to keep up. 6. The power of persistence. You've witnessed it. Someone begins a project, a business, a dream with blazing eyes and vitality that can illuminate a city. For an instant, it appears as though nothing can halt them. But then, existence reasserts itself. A couple of setbacks, a hint of quiet from the masses, an open door which refuses to be opened. And just like that, they're gone. You ask yourself, what happened? They were talented. They had momentum. They didn't have staying power. That's the piece everyone tends to forget. The ones who succeed in the end are not always the smartest or most naturally talented. They're not always the quickest learners or the loudest voices in the room. They're the ones that remain. When everyone else folds, they keep moving. When the applause dies down, when the road gets silent and the work doesn't feel visible anymore, they show up anyway. Persistence doesn't mind whether the light is green or red. It simply keeps on going. Persistence isn't flashy. It isn't accompanied by applause or immediate results. It arrives grubby boots, calloused hands, focused eyes. It demands nothing but the determination to persist. Day after day, even when it's dull, even when it hurts, even when everything in you is whispering that perhaps it isn't worth it. That's when persistence starts working. Slowly, persistently, one brick at a time. And sooner or later, those bricks form something of substance, something tangible. It's like digging for water. You can work days, sweating in the sun, shoveling dirt, digging deeper and deeper. 10 feet down, there's still nothing. Most people stop there. It's dry, they say. I guess I was wrong. But suppose the water is just 2 feet lower. Suppose that one more day, one more bout of effort, one more refusal to quit was all that was required. Most breakthroughs don't happen in the middle of the crowd. They arrive in silence when nobody is looking, because nobody looked long enough to see it. Because nobody looked long enough to see it. The individuals who've created something that matters, great minds, makers, creators, leaders, they all possess this subtle power. They persisted. When outcomes were unseen, when advancement slowed to a crawl, when uncertainty rested in like a blanket, they framed a different question. Not is it working, but am I still moving? That was their triumph. Movement, no matter how slight, was their reply. And eventually those small movements created something greater than talent alone could. Now ask yourself truthfully, how many times have you started with zeal and burned out just as quickly? How many times have you confused initial excitement with long-term commitment? You struck the match, but you didn't nurture the fire. You anticipated a conflagration without knowing how to sustain it. But what if the key isn't how loudly you start, but how long you persist? What if, rather than attempting to cross the line in one breath, you committed to yourself to just one thing, that you'll continue to show up? Not for a week, not until it gets better, but until it becomes part of who you are, until the work produces its own harvest, until the effort gains its own energy. Perseverance is your subdued statement of faith. It speaks, I believe there is a future to be built. And then it gets to work, not with panache, but with dedication. It pays enough respect to the process to go back at it over and over. It does not require ideal conditions, just another sunrise, because in the end, it's not the fastest one, or the strongest one, or the smartest one who crosses the finish line. The threat is that most don't ever take the time to see. They stumble through life amidst clutter, chaos, and toxic conversations that eat away at their potential, assuming that setting is normal, never questioning how it molds their expectations. Your surroundings train you more than you realize. They tell you what's okay. They suggest what's achievable. They establish what feels normal in the back of your head. If you spend your time with individuals who ridicule ambition, who reject growth, who dread change, their thinking infects your subconscious. Subtly, you begin to modify your dreams to accommodate within their confines. But if you live among those who construct, who dream out loud, who have a purpose, you begin to sense that purpose rise within you as well. It's not magic, it's proximity. What surrounds you shapes you. Think of your environment as your silent teacher and ask yourself, what is it teaching you? Imagine waking up each day and stepping into a space that breathes order, focus, and inspiration. A desk that's clean, a room that's intentional, words on the wall that challenge your thinking, quiet moments that allow your thoughts to stretch. Contrast that with waking up in chaos. Papers scattered all over, distractions at arm's length, noise seeping in around every crevice. Which part of you prospers? Which part of you leads? Which one even has the room to think through, to dream big, to act with purpose? Now, it's simple to say, well, I can't move where I am, or I'm stuck with what I have. No one's asking you to gut walls or construct a mansion. You don't need to disrupt your entire life in order to alter your dirt. Begin where you are. Start in a corner. Organize your desk. Curate what's in front of you. The smallest changes can start to move your energy. Choose your books like you'd choose your closest friends. Ones that challenge you, inspire you, stretch you. Eliminate the mental junk food, gossip, noise, distraction that numbs your focus and feeds your doubt. Post reminders of the person you desire to be. Post a quote that speaks to your heart. Have a journal near you to capture your best ideas. Make the area around you a mirror of the life you are working towards. You don't need to wait for the ideal spot. You need to make one within the area you already have. Challenge yourself with the tougher questions. Who are you hearing each day? Whose voices are influencing the way you see the world? What conversations occupy your days? Are they expanding your mind or closing it? Do they elevate you or do they keep you cozy and tiny? And what pictures, what material, what din fill your days when you're not actively engaged? It's more important than you realize. You might not be able to dictate all that goes on outside your gate, but you can totally dictate all that comes through your gates. And you have to. Your mental space is holy. It's where your dreams reside, where your thoughts sprout, where your identity is forged. Guard it like it's valuable, because it is. A strong mind can't survive in a weak environment. So treat your environment as soil. What you water, what you plant, what you weed out, it all depends on what will grow. And fertile soil makes strong roots. Strong roots are able to withstand storms. They are able to carry weight. They are able to nourish something great. But shallow soil, contaminated by noise and abandonment, will never be able to nourish true growth. The individuals who emerge, who create legacies, who become leaders, it's not necessarily because they work hard. It's also because they've created an ecosystem that can hold the weight of their dreams. Their environment is an ecosystem of focus, clarity, and intention. They don't leave their future to chance. They create the conditions for it to flourish. So look closely at the world that's right in front of you. Your bedroom, your online streams, your everyday dialogue. And ask yourself, is this enabling me to grow, or is it keeping me stuck? You don't need to change everything overnight, but you do need to start. Pick one thing to take away, one thing to bring in, one thing to move, and see what happens, not only around you, but within you. Because when your space starts to lift, so will you. The soil is important, the space is important, and so are you. 8, the gift of delayed gratification. The world is noisy about speed. It applauds quick victories, toasts overnight successes, and urges you to take what you can while you can. You can't go anywhere without hearing a soft whisper suggesting, why wait? We're programmed to believe that if it doesn't happen immediately, it won't happen at all. But people who find authentic, sustained success know something more profound, something quieter. They know the art of patience. The self-retrain to see something in front of you and tell yourself, not yet, but soon. That's not weakness, that's power. Wonderful things don't sprout on command. A seedling planted today won't produce fruit tomorrow, no matter how much you want it. A house isn't finished in a weekend, and so many of us want the parade before the dance. We desire the prize without the repetition, the outcome without the perseverance. But that is not how life works, not for anything worthwhile. Anything worth doing will take time, and that time will ask more of you than you ever anticipated. Delayed gratification is the ultimate measure of faith. It is the interval between aspiration and accomplishment, between your desire and capacity. It's what distinguishes the tinkerers from the masters. Anyone can run fast for a short distance, but what about the long way? The way of silence, failures, and days when nothing budges. Only a few persist, and they're the ones who finally get there. Because they weren't racing to get fast, they were cultivating strength. Patience creates muscle you otherwise don't build. Discipline, stamina, concentration. It trains you to move forward without cheers, to remain dedicated when no one else notices the worth yet. Consider attempting to save money when you have virtually nothing. That dollar you save today may not alter your life today, but it's not about today. It's about what this habit turns into. It's about what you're saying to yourself when you decide to hold back. I believe in my future. I believe in what I'm building. Patience is never passive. It's active belief. It's the sculptor chiseling a block of stone day after day, long before it resembles anything worth looking at. He doesn't need praise. He doesn't even need certainty. What he has is vision and the stubborn resolve to keep carving. While others lose interest or walk away, he keeps showing up. That's how masterpieces are made. Be honest with yourself. What are you exchanging your energy and time for? Are you investing it in rapid dopamine rewards? Another scroll, another buy, another hack? Or are you making deposits into something longer term, something that will endure beyond the trends and the noise? Because time will always slip away. The question is whether you're wasting it or investing it. It's simple to say yes to ease now, to distraction, to comfort, but each yes today is a no tomorrow. What joy are you opting for now that your future self will come to regret? Would it actually destroy you to forego that treat, to resist that urge, to do the difficult thing now so that your life will be simpler someday? This isn't punishment, this is positioning. When you learn to wait, not in frustration, but with quiet power, you differentiate yourself. You step out of the madness of instant gratification. You end playing the short game and begin to plant roots. Because the one who is able to wait, the one who can labor without reward, the one who can build without recognition, that's the one who becomes unstoppable. Success is not taken away from the majority, it's just held back. But most of them don't live long enough to reach it. They quit halfway up the hill, just before the scenery opens up. They quit when the crowd is silent, unaware that the applause is later, after the finish line, after the outcome, after the years of showing up when it would have been easier to stay home. What if you let someone else pursue the quick wins while you planted something substantial? What if, rather than demanding attention today, you just let your future speak for itself? What if you walked with confidence in silence, knowing you're taking on work others won't do, that you're building a future others will be green with envy over, because you were patient? Waiting is not weakness, it's wisdom. The people you know who are the strongest didn't become that way by rushing. They developed over seasons of unseen effort. They planted, they watered, and they waited. The best fruit does not grow quickly. It grows slowly, deep within fertile soil, over time. So the next time life offers you something convenient, stop and ask yourself, is this what I truly desire, or is this merely what's in front of me? Have the guts to take the longer route, the one that skips the shortcuts, the one that demands more of you but offers more in return. Because ultimately, it's not about arriving quickly. It's about arriving prepared. 9. Contribution over competition. Everyone has been conditioned to see the world from the perspective of a race. One winner, one finish line, one prize. They've been conditioned to think that success is a limited commodity, that there's only so much to go around, and that if another person reaches it first, somehow there's less for them. From school grades to career advancement, this notion gets ingrained until it becomes second nature. But that notion, albeit common, is shattered, because true success is not achieved by dominating others, achieved by constructing alongside others. True greatness isn't about stepping on people to get to the top. It's about taking people with you as you ascend. Your job is not to eclipse your neighbor, to cast a shadow that makes people feel lesser. Your job is to shine so brightly that you remind people of their own light. The instant you change from wondering, to what can I get, to what can I offer, is the instant everything starts shifting. That's when doors open that before were shut. That's when your impact becomes deeper, your mission clearer, and your success begins to be more than a digit on a scoreboard. You bring out greatness by bringing out the best in others. That may be with a word of encouragement at the right moment, an extended hand when help is most needed, or just being somebody others can rely on. Dependable, humble, consistent. It doesn't require great acts. Most often, it's the little acts of kindness that make the deepest impression. And when you begin to give habitually, not to impress, but from a place of sincerity, something unexpected occurs. Your own life starts to bloom. And as others bloom, so do you. Imagine you're walking down a black village street at night, holding a lantern. Every time you pass a house, you light the lamp of someone else in front of you. You don't waste your own light by doing this. In fact, the more lamps you light, the brighter your own way becomes. Soon, the whole road is illuminated. That's contribution. And it endures much longer than the shallow high of competition. We're constantly being told to defend our edge, to maintain secrets, to protect opportunities as valuable jewels. What if you reversed it? What if you shared what you've discovered? What if you assisted another up, even as you're ascending yourself? True confidence is not undermined by others' success. No, it applauds it, for it recognizes that the brighter the room, the brighter we all get. You tell me you want to be great. That's a good goal. But ask yourself, are you willing to assist others in being great as well? Because that's the true test. It's easy to pursue your own objectives alone. It's more difficult and more valuable to reach back and pull someone up alongside you. Who could you help today? Who needs to be reminded of their value? Who's trudging through the shadows, hoping for someone to turn on the light? This isn't about softness. It's about being strong where it really counts. It's about leaving a legacy that doesn't die with you. Success that has to step on people might make you famous, but it will leave you alone when the lights go down. Success that lifts others is what leaves a mark. It ripples out. It sows seeds you might not ever see bloom, the brighter we all get. You tell me you want to be great. That's a good goal. But ask yourself, are you willing to assist others in being great as well? Because that's the true test. It's easy to pursue your own objectives alone. It's more difficult and more valuable to reach back and pull someone up alongside you. Who could you help today? Who needs to be reminded of their value? Who's trudging through the shadows, hoping for someone to turn on the light? This isn't about softness. It's about being strong where it really counts. It's about leaving a legacy that doesn't die with you. Success that has to step on people might make you famous, but it will leave you alone when the lights go down. Success that lifts others is what leaves a mark. It ripples out. It sows seeds you might not ever see bloom. We've been sold a myth that there's not enough to go around. But the truth is, there's more than enough space at the top for those willing to build a new kind of success, one that includes others, one that multiplies rather than divides. So no, you don't come up by stepping on others. You come up by raising the bar. For yourself, yes, but for the people around you too. You come up by creating something so strong, so generous, so authentic that others can't help but be lifted up by it. And when the finish line arrives at last, when you are looking back at what you have created, you will not recall the people you defeated. You will recall the people you constructed with. And that is the success to pursue. That is the legacy that endures.